Hey guys, and welcome to my stimulus package update and stimulus check update. Wow, I haven't said those words in so long. I want you guys to know that I missed you more than you missed me, and I'm happy I'm back here for you with another video just to give you my perspective on everything that's been going on.
Congress may have come to a deal on banning all Russian oil imports into the United States here. They haven't voted on this yet, but this really could greatly affect Americans and the price at the pump, but this might be the right thing to do. Here's the details. Top officials in Congress reached an agreement Monday, apparently, on legislation that would ban Russian oil imports to the U.S. and end Russia's permanent normal trade relations status in response to the war in Ukraine. According to a Senate aide who said this anonymously to discuss private deliberations. Voting could come swiftly, but no schedule has been set yet. And it would have to pass the House and the Senate, and the president would have to sign it. That's a big deal there. Because President Biden has been reluctant on this because this would raise gas prices even higher, as they're well over $4 a gallon on the average and much higher in some prices. And if they go even higher, well, and they ban Russian oil, it's a lose-lose situation for Biden. Some people are going to blame him for this. Some people are going to blame him for banning the Russian oil. Some people are going to blame him for not banning the Russian oil. It's a lose-lose situation either way. Check this out.
There's growing pressure for the White House to ban oil and gas coming from Russia. You've heard about this. Today, a bipartisan group of lawmakers said they agreed on legislation that would do exactly that, ban oil and energy income, or I should say, into the United States. The question is whether the president will sign it. Uncertainty has oil crossing $130 a barrel for the first time since 2008. At the pump, the average price for a gallon of gas is north of $4. That's up 13% from just last week, all according to AAA. But it's much worse in some parts of California. These are images of a gas station in Los Angeles. People there are paying nearly $7 a gallon. That means it would cost $83 to fill up a small car with an average gas tank of about 12 gallons. Larger cars that typically hold 16 gallons, $110 to fill it up. Putin may be viewing the rising gas prices as a bargaining chip, according to analysts. Russian state media portraying it as a way to sober up Americans and force Washington to negotiate with Moscow. CNBC senior White House correspondent Kayla Tausche now. Kayla, President Biden spoke with his counterparts in NATO today about a potential ban on Russian energy imports. What came out of that meeting?
Well, Shep, the White House has said publicly there's no final decision on whether to ban imports of Russian oil to the United States, but discussions continued with transatlantic leaders on energy security and contingency planning. While allies like the UK and Japan may also pursue an oil embargo, CNBC has learned Europe is not expected to take part because there's no ample replacement yet. Last year, Europe imported 99 billion euros worth, or about $107 billion in Russian oil and gas. The U.S., by comparison, imported just about $4.7 billion in oil, and the U.S. imported $29 billion in all trade categories combined. Some Wall Street analysts have suggested a coordinated ban could push prices to $200 a barrel if it included Europe. But there's a view within the White House that prices already reflect an American ban on Russian oil because big companies have already been balking at doing that business.
The world oil industry basically just dropped Russian oil like a bad habit. And for example, I confirmed last week with Valero that they're not buying any Russian crude and haven't been. And you've seen one cargo that Shell said it had bought became a public relations disaster for Shell. The reality is it's already done. We're not buying Russian oil.
Tonight, a top Kremlin official stoking fear on state television, warning the West that prices could triple. But U.S. lawmakers in rare agreement on the issue are unbowed. Democrat Joe Manchin from energy-rich West Virginia has pushed the administration for deregulation but says supporting Ukraine is worth it.
I believe the American people would, if they basically pay, if they had to, seeing that they're saving freedom and saving lives of people, innocent people.
A deal including such a ban on Capitol Hill is expected in the next day. The White House says discussions to tap into more oil from Saudi Arabia, Venezuela, and even Iran are still underway.
Yeah, so experts say that even though we only import 5 to 8% of our oil from Russia, that it would hit U.S. prices hard, and U.S. gas prices are already being hit hard. So, yeah, it's, the problem is the price of oil is traded basically on a stock exchange globally. So the price of oil is trending up here basically every single day. And, well, you've seen those gas prices, almost $7 a gallon in some parts of California and LA. Yeah, and the problem is that the crisis in Ukraine, the war in Ukraine, and Putin, doesn't seem like Putin's going to be stopping anytime soon. However, one thing that could potentially stop the war or start World War III is Ukraine joining the EU or Ukraine joining NATO. It's a very similar thing here. You can see here the EU, the European Union, officially agrees to look at requests for Ukraine to join the EU, as well as Georgia and Moldova to join the EU. Remember that also Moldova, there was a plan basically leaked by accident that Russia and Belarus has plans to invade Moldova as well. So the EU is now officially looking at requests for these three countries to potentially join the EU. Now, the EU is normally known for its years-long process of validating new member states, often lasting up to a decade. But they said that they are now looking at these applications. After their opinion is given, member states are required to vote unanimously in favor of each new nation's candidacy for membership. Ukraine has asked the EU to fast-track its membership process during the war. The country has also pleaded to become part of NATO alliance during the conflict, a request against which the alliance has shown resistance for NATO. But some EU member states have endorsed Ukraine's membership in the Commission, despite resistance to the idea based on fears of Russian conflict within the West. And remember that the EU is actually going out of their way for the first time ever to literally fund and pay for weapons and deliver weapons to Ukraine. This is the first time they've ever done this. And if Ukraine does join the EU, they have a treaty that's similar to NATO. Here's kind of how it works. What happens if Ukraine joins the EU? Here's kind of the most important part here. Ukrainian President Zelensky has signed an application for his country to join the EU after the first round of discussions between Ukraine and Russia ended without any meaningful progress. They've now had 3 rounds, and of course, Russia, there's no meaningful progress. If they join, it could aid Ukraine's military efforts because the EU has a mutual defense clause for any member nation that is a victim of armed aggression on its territory. So basically, it looks like the EU has, I'm not an expert on EU defense clauses, but it looks like the EU would have mutual defense for any member nation. So I would assume that is similar to the NATO defense clause. I know that the NATO defense clause is basically, if you attack a NATO country, you're basically declaring war against all the NATO countries, which the US is a part of, and there's 30 countries in NATO. So if Ukraine is added into the EU, depending on exactly how the EU treaties work, Russia would either have to immediately stop, or it would be the start of World War III with the EU, the entire European Union, against Russia. And Well, Russia's already threatened that anybody else who intervenes, that they would use nukes. Whether or not they do that or not, I mean, Russia's having a hard time alone with just Ukraine. If a whole bunch of other countries join in, Russia's in deep, deep trouble unless they use nukes. But I mean, you know, the question here is that, will this happen? And if this does happen, it's just, the question is do we want this to happen? Is there any other way to stop Putin? And how far is this going to go? I mean, remember that 10 days ago, this war hadn't even started. And now it's like, will Putin ever even stop? And what is the way to stop him?
Alright guys, this is all I have for you in this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really missed you. Hopefully I'll see you here again very, very soon. And I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on everything we talked about here in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate you all. Please hit the like button on the video, share this video with your friends and family, and subscribe if you haven't already. And click that notifications bell to be notified that whenever I publish new videos for you. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video.